Hey everybody, Scout Crafter here again. Real quick one today, kind of off the cuff. I was reading through the comments on one of the videos, and one of our subscribers, friend to the show, Vladimir Palinko. How Russian is that name, huh? I don't even know where he's from. But he says he keeps noticing the birdhouse. I guess he's talking about these. And they catch his eye. So let's talk about the birdhouses and what led to that. 1872, a chemist by the name, German chemist by the name of Eugen Baumann invents this material called polyvinyl chloride. And we knock it down to PVC, the initials. But with this material, other chemists ran with it and started using it for commercial purposes. And by the 30s, 40s, they were doing all kinds of things. By the 50s, piping and structural components were very common. A lot of popular mechanics magazines years ago used to show how to make different products out of PVC. And it's just been, anybody who's a do-it-yourselfer has used this before and want, something other than drainage pipes or whatever. And that's where I came in. Now, in case you were wondering, yes, this is a whistle. And like anything else you can make from PVC, the sky is the limit. And as a scout leader, I said, oh, this is great. We can make all kinds of stuff. But now this, you'll recognize this, is a square piece of PVC. And this is typically known, you ever see the PVC fences that they go up? Well, this is one of the structural, they put a 4x4 wood in here and they cover that with this. And this is what is the post, the fence post for PVC Now, whenever I saw somebody putting up a PVC fence, I would mentally remember where they lived. And at night or during garbage pickup, I would go by the house and they always had the excess fence, because you only use, they come in like 10-foot lengths and you only use like 8 foot or whatever. And they would cut off and you'd see a lot of these 2-foot sections in the garbage and I would grab them. And from that, I said, I made all kinds of stuff from the square tubing. I just think it's such a great invention. And these birdhouses were one of the things I made from it. These bird decals are NOS, which is vintage, never new old stock. Decals that they used to sell back in the 50s and 60s, and they're bird decals that they're water transfer decals. I put them on the side, and then you got a clear coat over them because otherwise, the weather really gets to them. But they're really nice from the old days. Anyway, all this is 2 pieces of PVC. One, the square piece here, and 2 is a piece that's cut down the edge here to make the roof. And this will last for many, many, many years, much longer than wood. I just thought it was something interesting, and I made a bottom here that's attached with 4 screws that you could pop out and clean it out like you're supposed to. Now, if you notice, there's no little dowel for the bird to sit on because in good birdhouses, according to the Audubon Society, you really shouldn't have that dowel because that helps predators stand on it and eat the youngins. So you anytime you make a birdhouse, don't put that dowel in. That's only for decoration, really. You want it like this because this will, allow the bird to go in and out. So that was the beginning of my love with PVC, and it just went from there. Like the majority of you out there, I know most of us collect light bulbs, and I know it's a big thing for everybody to collect light bulbs, and it's not a crazy thing. So Now, as any good light bulb collector knows, you need a way to test out and display a light bulb or whatever, and that's what this comes in great for. I made a few of these boxes here, and this is nothing but a dimmer switch so that you can, control the brightness or whatever, or bring up a light to power. And this is a voltage. So when you turn this on here, you can see what kind of voltage we're running. And in honor of Vladimir, we have a Russian neon bulb here. This is from Russia, and it's neon. And these were basically indicator lights and things like that you would see, and they're kind of pretty rare, but it's a neon light, and I thought it was pretty interesting. But that's another great use for this square type box. You can make all kinds of control boxes. Now, these outlets are controlled by the dimmer switch, so it's almost like a little mini poor man's Variac. Okay, here's where things get a little crazy. About 15 years ago, I made this light bulb display. You remember in the old department stores years ago, you would go in the lighting section, they had all them light bulbs, they were all lit up and stuff. I was always there. My mother, whenever I got lost, she would go to the light bulb section, I'd be there. So, 15 years ago, I make this display. It comes apart in 2 pieces, folds like a suitcase, and it's not finished yet. I want to do Edison's electric light up here in gold leaf, and on both sides, and then all these cards come up here. I want to take these. I had printed out cards to do each light bulb, but I would change them around. And what this was a display to show more or less not only the evolution of light bulb, but you got to remember 15 years ago, compact fluorescents were coming into the scene. They were brand new. LEDs weren't even around yet. These were the earliest LED bulbs, and it was pretty interesting. So what I would do is I'd hook this up and show the scouts how much power is drawn by each one. And let me show you how some of these bulbs, pretty cool. Okay, I usually would start off with some of the earlier bulbs, and I would show the scouts that, you know, how much power was required for, you can see the filaments. They had just a regular loop filament. Some of these are antique bulbs, a lot of these are, and you could see the type of filaments that they had and how much power they actually required. As we get down here, some of them were pretty ornate, you know, the filaments, and again, this was all heat thrown off, so a lot of the power was transferred into heat. As we go down here, I'll shut off some of these so I can transfer more power to these here, and you could see the filaments here. Those are real antique bulbs, and you could see how it's all heat there, and it's a pretty interesting, you know, the scouts would be amazed that where the bulbs came from. A lot of them never saw this, like some of us old timers. Over here we have a decorative bulb. These are real popular in the 40s. It's called an Aerolux, and that's a religious symbol in there, but it's a very popular bulb from years ago, and they're quite collectible. Then I would transition through the 60s and 70s and show what the modern bulbs look like and what kind of power they would draw. On the other side, I would transition from halogen bulbs and the nice colored light that they would give off because they were so warm and inviting, compared to different colored bulbs, and a black light bulb over there from, you remember those back in the old days with the black light post. Over here is a bug light. You remember those have a special coating to resist bugs, and then again halogens, and this is where it got real interesting because this is when compact fluorescents were first coming out. Now I wish it would pick up better on here, but unfortunately with the camera they're self-adjusting with light. But over here would show these are early compact fluorescents, and what killed a lot of these was they were first introduced over there. If you look to the right, to the far right, it's a kind of a bluish tinge. This light over here, this one here, if you look, it's not a very pleasing light to the eye. It's that's 5,000 Kelvin, and that's what the bulbs are based on. And the other ones here, this one here is a 3,000, this one's 2,700 and 2,700. These are very much like your regular old-fashioned bulbs as far as color goes, and the higher the Kelvin, the more kind of ugly to the eye they get, and I'll show you. And that's what I was trying to demonstrate, because a lot of parents would buy the, you know, the bulbs that were first coming out. They would pick, oh, daylight, you know, daylight seems nice, but it turned out that your room looked like a hospital. Now, I dimmed it down a bit, but there's a direct comparison between, on the left is a 2,700 Kelvin compared to a 5,000 Kelvin. You could see the light difference. Now, as far as lumens, as far as how bright it is, they're both very bright, but one is a very bluish tinge. The other one's a more pleasing to the eye, yellowish. Now, lastly, we had the LEDs. Those were brand new at the time. They did not have the new LEDs. The only LED lights that they were putting out were those, and they were quite expensive at the time. You know, they ran like $30 a bulb, and you can see the one to the left that's illuminated. This one here, that's 2,700 Kelvin. How nice and pleasing to the eye it is. And then you see those harsh, bluish white, alien-looking bulbs. And again, those are the first ones that came out back then. So in closing, Vladimir, I hope that answers your questions about those birdhouses, and also what you can do with PVC, and maybe some, it's amazing how we were around for the beginning and end of the fluorescent, compact fluorescent light bulb, isn't it? All right, thanks very much for tuning in. Take care. Hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye.